Welcome, Dennis.
Thank you, sir. Good evening once again. Today is on a Friday. I hope you've been good all over the week, and we are going to learn today about Excel, and I hope you are ready, colleagues. I hope you are ready for today's session.
Yes, Dennis. Yeah, we can hear you. So yeah, and I can see reactions from the class. So if you cannot unmute and say you are ready, you just show the reactions as Faith Kahindi is doing. So you react to show that we are together. So either use the thumbs up, either use the clapping or the love emoji, no problem. You can even laugh anyway, but I don't think laughing is the best. Thank you. Dennis, you can proceed.
Uh, First and foremost, I'm Dennis Karani, uh, the heads of operation at Beyond Data Statistics Solution, and today I'm going to take you through uh, functions like XLOOKUP, VLOOKUP, and conditional formatting. But before that, we are going to have a recap of what we did last week. That was day one of our Microsoft Excel challenge, 5 week challenge. And let me share my screen as we wait for the others to join. I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, from my end, I can be able to see. Maybe other colleagues, you can show us if you can be able to see the screen. Can react so that we can know. Okay, nice. Yeah, you can proceed, Dennis. It's nice.
Yeah, the topics that were covered the last time was data entry using forms in Excel and basic functions that are the average, sum, max, and minimum functions. So that is what we are going to have a recap and get to know what we did or even remind ourselves what we did last time. So we open our Excel. I hope everyone has his or her Excel worksheet already open.
Before Dennis, you proceed, I would like to know if who is having the laptop with them so that we can as well sometimes ask them to share their screen. So maybe can if you have your laptop with you, I request that you raise your hand so that we can have an interactive session. Because for me, I believe that the best way of learning is by doing. So yeah, thank you, Faith Cherotich. Thank you. So Faith Kahindi, do you have your laptop? And maybe Ahmed and James, you've just joined us. Welcome to our day 2 session today. So Faith, do you have your laptop, Kahindi? Nope. Okay. Okay, thank you. So maybe we will be using Cherotich just in case we need that. Thank you, Dennis. You can proceed.
Yes, as I was saying, today we are going to have a recap of what was done during our first day. That was data entry using forms in Excel and basic function. The basic function that were covered are average, finding the average, sum, maximum, and minimum. So first thing, we open our Excel worksheet, and we want to enter data in our Excel. So this data can be from an institution or a business inventory, or even we are taking records of something that was done, maybe in a supermarket. Let's say, for example, in our institution, using a student inventory, whereby we are going to check on students courses the courses they do, the names, and the age of the student in an institution. So the first thing, first and foremost, before we are going to tap to our Excel sheet, we enter data. That is name, age, and something like department. As you can see, the name, as we are entering data, name, age, they fit well to the Excel sheet in our columns, but department, the name crosses to the other column. So for us to make sure that it does not cross over all the time, or even when we enter something like the course the student is pursuing, you'll find that the word department has been hidden. Some part of it is hidden. So for us to be able to see that, we bring the plus sign here between the border of C and D. Then we double tap and it changes. And it fits according to the length of the word. That is one way of doing it. The other way is you tap here for the whole worksheet, then you bring the plus sign between the border of A and B, you double tap, and it is going to change the whole worksheet and adjust it accordingly with the length of the columns or the rows. There's another way we can do it. Let's open a new sheet. On your new sheet, you right click, view code, then it will open a new page. Under this general, you click here, you set it to worksheet, then you enter a code, cells dot entire column, you press tab dot out of it. This will help you or enable you as you're filling your worksheet, it will automatically adjust itself according to the length of the words that you are inputting. So as we start here, the name, enter. You see, as you're typing the name and hit enter, it adjusts itself with the length of the name that you are inputting. Let's have something like department. It is going to adjust itself accordingly. We have date, something like that. Hope everyone has understood that part to that point. Just by show of reaction. Okay, thank you. Now, that was one way of data entry. You can just enter data in your worksheet normally using this way. The other way you can do it is using a form, whereby we are going to create a form for us to fill data. And before that, you press here, file, options. We want to set it to be on the taskbar up there. So, or in the quick access toolbar. So we click quick access toolbar. We come up here. Then we are going to set it to all commands. Then we search form. From this list here, we're going to search the form. Yeah, we found it. Since I've already added it, I will not redo it, but when you get it form, you just click add, then it adjusts itself, and you'll get it in the access toolbar up here. Now, what is this form going to help us to do? It is going to help us to input data in our worksheet. For instance, we have a table. We are going to use a table for institution in school. Maybe like we have name, course, age, department. You can suggest for me any other information that we can put that is for a student in maybe in an institution. Just use the chat. Suggest any other information we can put. Yes, the student ID. Sorry. Yeah, because it is the first one. Now, since we have written the name, course, age, and department, and we want to insert another column, a new column, we come here, up here, right click, then insert a new column that will insert itself on the left side of what we had done initially. This is where we are going to adjust it and name it student ID. Student underscore ID. That way. Now, we want to fill our form with the information of students. Since we don't want, since maybe we have a long list, a very long list of students, and you might find that as you are trying to type in the information, you'll get yourself making an error. We're going to use the form now so that we can exempt ourselves from doing that error. We are going to come here, highlight this, make it a table, search table, sorry, search, sorry, minute please. I'm going to highlight this one. Make it a table, and we're going to tell it to my table has headers. Press OK. Then from here, we're going to press this form here, and let us select the range. That is our table range. We're going to select the form. Then here it is. Now from here, we can be able to update our worksheet with the information we have. So with this one, we can be able to enter the student ID, maybe for instance 5436. Then you press tab to go down there for the name. Then you enter the name, maybe something like Edwin Ogambi. Press tab. The course is statistics. Press tab. The age maybe around 24. Department. We can put any department. Either it can be engineering, mathematics, or even finance. then you hit enter. As you hit enter, your data, it is adjusting itself. So that is how we use form to enter data into our worksheet. The other thing we are going to remind ourselves is data validation. Data validation, we can use the department. So you press here, then before this, I hope we are clear on using form to update our data and data entry. Yes, thank you. Let's continue to data validation. We're just doing a recap. You can find the video or what we did during our first day in our YouTube channel. As we are continuing, when doing data validation, we want to validate the type of data that you want to enter in our worksheet so that you cannot make errors. For instance, you'll find that the data that you have, you are having departments like finance, computer science, and maybe medical engineering, mechanical engineering, something like that. And what is data validation used for? It is used to limit you from maybe entering data that is not in your record. For instance, maybe you have something like mathematics and it is not in your record. So you'll not be able to put mathematics since it is not in your record. So let's continue and proceed with the data validation. You select that column, then from your taskbar, here up here, data, then down here, data validation. Now you'll come and insert the value that you want. Since we are listing the list of departments that we are going to use, you come and select risk. Maybe you can, your data might be having something that has amounts of money that you will put decimals, whole numbers, a date. You can also enter date and time, or even a text. So we are going to use list. Source, we are going to, this is where we are going to now enter the data that we want to be validating it from. So for instance, we can do engineering. We have business, comma, accounting, medicine. You're going to use this one now as a list. Then you input the message title. It will be input department, the department. This one will show you what you're supposed to enter in your worksheet as you are entering the data. The message that you can just write a message that it is going to pop up as you hover around that cell. Select, you're going to write select data, select from the drop down. Then the error alert. This one now is going to alert you when you enter data that is not supposed to be entered in that cell. We are going to put a warning, an information. You can set it to have to give you a warning and an information. So we are going to set it to information. It will give us a title. Let us name it error. Then the error message, we are going to, it is going to tell you, make sure that you select from the drop down. And then you hit OK. So from here, as we enter our data, you can see we have a drop down here. Just besides the finance, this is our drop down, business. As you proceed, the next, maybe you have a list of around 20 students. As you proceed, you'll continue selecting. The other student does accounting. The other student is pursuing maybe something like business, engineering, on and on and on. So you can see it pops out a message to tell you that you have to input the department and you have to select the department from the drop down that is already provided. And let us maybe select something like mathematics. And as you can see, it is going to give us an error message and tell us that we have to make sure that we select from the drop down. That's how we do data validation. Hope it's clear enough and you've gotten it. You can use emoji to show that you've understood that part. Yes, thank you. Let's proceed to the basic functions, that is using average, sum, and maximum or minimum. So for this one, we are going to use, let me close this one in it. Let me first stop sharing a minute. Let me open my Excel. Yeah, done. I hope we are together.
So yeah, Dennis, before you proceed, I would just like to tell those who have joined us right now that what we were doing is just the recap of what we covered in the last session. So we are just in the last part by introducing the basics of basic functions in Excel. So there is where we are, and then we'll proceed to our today's agenda. Thank you for joining today. You can continue, Dennis. You can continue.
So using the basic functions that we have, we are going to cover average. Let me use this part, average. We're going to cover the total amount. Total amount, maybe we have the data I'm using here. We have the data of some customers who bought some items, that is the Microsoft Office, HP Laser, HP EliteBook. We are going to look for the average amount of money that was collected from the sale of those items, the total amount. We are going also to ask ourselves, what is the maximum price or the maximum amount that was collected, and the minimum amount that was collected from the same. So for us to find the average, just click here. I hope during the last class that you are told that for you to start any function, you must enter the equal sign, and then type your function, that is average. Hit enter. Then come here and select the whole table array. Then close the brackets and hit enter. That is the average. The average amount of that was corrected. For us to get the total amount, you hit enter, sum, because we want to get the total amount, sum, tab, then select the table here. It is going to add everything for us to get the total amount. Hit enter, gives us the total amount. Good. Something going amiss somewhere. Samadanga. I want to stop sharing my life. I want to stop.
So as Dennis proceeds with some basic functions in Excel, is there a question on any basic function in Excel? Okay, if there is no question, can I see a kind of reaction either by thumbs up or any reaction that you can have? Yeah, I think it will be helpful before Dennis proceed. Thank you, Godfrey. Thank you, Godfrey. So, Dennis, can you proceed?
Oh, yes. Sorry for that. A mistake
Yeah,
happened
proceed.
somewhere.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Proceed.
Hope my screen is visible.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah, we can see. Thank you.
So we want to find the average price of the items that were sold. This data was the items that were sold in a certain. It was data from Grace. For us to find the average price of the items that were sold, as I had said earlier, you were taught to, for before you write any function, you must input the equal sign so that you can declare it as a function. So let us proceed. We are going to input average. Oh, sorry for that. It is average. Average. Then from our table, we select here. Then it close the brackets, hit enter. It is going to give us the average amount that was corrected, the average price of the items. Then for the total amount, we're going to, using the equal sign, sum, since we want to get the total sum of the price of the item sold. You highlight from your table, then enter, giving me the same error.
You are summing.
Yes.
Yeah, Dennis. Which challenge? Which challenge?
The sum.
So we are supposed to use the one for the price, for the amount, and can you use the amount column?
Yes.
Reference to L and not K. Yeah, reference to L and not K. The sum of the amount.
So let's repeat. For the average amount, we are going to use, we are referencing L. I don't know if it's giving me the correct answer, but that's how it's supposed to be done. Then we check for the maximum amount. That will be the highest value of the amount that was collected from the sale of the items. So we set it to equal sign maximum, max. Then we select, we highlight here. Then we close, enter. Gives us 24,000, 240,000. Yes, this one. Yeah, and as you can check, this is the highest amount. And then for the minimum amount, you're going to do the same, minimum, hit tab, then highlight from the data, then hit enter. It gives us the minimum amount that was collected from the data. And we are done. That was a recap of what was covered during our first day. I hope everyone has understood that everything is clear.
Yeah, so yeah, thank you, Dennis. In the previous session, we did not cover the average, the sum, and the minimum maximum, but we covered the form and data validation. So that one was covered in the other cohort 1. So you can just proceed unless there is a question on average, total amount, maximum, and minimum. But those ones were just part of the assignment that we were giving to the learners. Yeah, so that's what we will give as an assignment as well for week 1, so that you can do that later. However, we can now proceed to our today's agenda, which is can show how to use the VLOOKUP. I think just show how to use VLOOKUP to fetch data. And then from there, now you'll proceed to conditional formatting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's proceed to today's agenda. That is, we are going to learn VLOOKUP. And I'd want you to research on XLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. These are used to find value from a data. Maybe you have a data that is around 1,000,000 or even 1,000 cells. You cannot just scroll finding data from that worksheet. So what we use is VLOOKUP. A minute. So VLOOKUP, this is the syntax of the VLOOKUP. It is used to get the lookup value, table array, column index number, and the range. So let's use the VLOOKUP. Let's copy this here. We want to get the first customer ID, first name, and gender, or even the email. We copy, we open a new sheet, and we paste it here. Let's adjust this and this one. We said, remember we said you can highlight the whole worksheet, then double click, and it will adjust itself accordingly. So we want to find the full name. We want to get the full name. Let me delete this one. We want to get the full name of our customer by entering the customer ID so as to get the information on that customer, since it is the unique key we can have. Because sometimes you get to have data, you have Benjamin Motuko, then you might have another Benjamin, maybe Benjamin Othiambo, Benjamin something. So the customer ID is the unique key that is given to each and every customer that purchases an item from a shop or even a company. So we are going to use a customer ID to be able to fetch data from the data set from the worksheet. You're going to fetch the name, gender, and the email. So we'll come here. We are going to use VLOOKUP, the equal sign. You type VLOOKUP, tab enter. The lookup value. The lookup value, it's asking us where do we want to get that data, or what are we checking from that data. So we are going to highlight the customer ID since we want to get there. We want to enter our customer ID and get that data. So we highlight there, comma, the table array. This basically asks us from which table or from which part do we want to check on our data. We go back to our sheet, the first sheet. Now we are going to select from here the customer ID up to the end, hit enter. That is sheet 1. We are going to lock it using the dollar sign. then comma, the column index number. This is asking us from our table the number of the column that we want to get the information to. That is the placement of that column. Since we have started from the customer ID, we can just delete this one. Oh, it is not, we cannot be able to delete it to that point. So since we've selected our table from customer ID to the end, this is going to be our first column, second column, the third column, and the fourth column. This is basically what we want our table to give us, the output. That is the name. This is what we want it to fetch it for us. So we are going to select it from sheet 1. This is the column 1, 2, 3, 4. We are going to write 4, comma, and then we have the range lookup. This is asking, do we want exact information from the table, or we want something that is close to that? So for exact is 0, and for something that is close to that is 1. We are going to use 0 since we want to get the exact information from that table. Then we close our brackets. And then
Yeah, there is error there. Dennis, before, just after the table array, we are not supposed to have sheet 2 information, that information telling us sheet 2. That's after, not before. After the table array, not before.
yeah. Let me just repeat it.
Yeah, repeat it, please. Yeah. And I usually suggest just using the same sheet so that it doesn't look more complicated. So I would just advise that you use the same sheet so that you don't reference outside, but it's also good to reference outside.
Okay.
But because it's the first one, I don't want it to look more complicated, so just use the same sheet. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you for that correction. So we'll copy that information, come and place it here. So we want to get the full name of the customer by entering the customer ID only, and at the same time we get we fetch the gender and the email. So we are going to redo it again. Use equal sign, VLOOKUP. The lookup value, we've said we select here the customer ID. This is what we are going to enter into our data so that it can give us the outcome that we want. S comma, then the table array, you're going to select here from customer ID up to the end. Yes, that one. Then comma, this is the column index number, which we've said we are going to use to number our columns from customer ID. This will be column number 1, column number 2, number 3, and our full name is at column number 4. So we enter number 4, then comma. We want an approximate match or an exact match. Since we want an exact match, we are going to use false, double tap, then close. You can use false or 0. It means the same thing. It's one and the same thing. Then we hit enter. It is, you see, it's now giving us a null value since we've not inputted something here. So as we input the customer ID, we are going to get our full name updated just there. So let's select 105, hit enter. It is giving us James Kalondu. And as you can confirm, 105, the customer ID, the customer with the customer ID number 105 is James Alondo. We want to get the gender of that person, the full information, the email, and the gender and the email, or maybe even the up to the amount that we want to get. So what we are going to do is we are going to copy the same to the other we are going to copy the same function or the formula to gender, email, and make some few changes so that it can give us the other information about our customer ID number 5. Up to there, I hope we are together.
Yeah. So maybe we can give this opportunity to Faith. Okay, Faith has not understood. Yeah. So what we can be able to do before we give her an opportunity to do that. So maybe to elaborate, Dennis, just show your screen for Excel. Show your Excel screen. So go to gender so that we can do that together. Just there, yeah. So what we are doing is to be able to fetch some data from our general database, fetching customers' information based on a unique identifier. So first of all, you must have a unique identifier. Sorry. In this case, our unique identifier is customer ID. However, if you have another unique identifier, you can be able to use something like email address if it is unique. But we usually recommend having a unique identifier. So in this case, we are using customer ID. So we want that if you are asked, maybe when did the customer ID this bought the products and the products of how much, and what is the gender of that customer, what is the full name of that customer, and what is the email address of that customer. So from there now you can be able to fetch that information. So how do you do that? Under gender you write equal to, under gender you write equal to, and then you start by calling the function known as VLOOKUP. So you type VLOOKUP, and then you open your parentheses. And then after opening your parentheses, now you start with the lookup value. The lookup value is the unique identifier, the cell that will be used as a unique identifier. So in this case, the cell that will be used as a unique identifier is the cell D16. The cell D16 for our case is the cell D16. So we usually leave it open, like blank, so that we can input any value. However, you can be able to change its value there and still see the changes. So first of all, you select the lookup value, then you separate comma, you use a comma. And then now from comma, you provide the table array range. That is just the table range. The table array is just the table range. So you select the range of your table data, the range of your table data. That means that you select the entire data table that you're going to use from the customer ID. And then from there, you can decide to lock. You can decide to lock the table so that when you drag to the right, it does not change the table range, because the table range should be the same, should be constant. So we do that by setting the cells for that as absolute. So we set those cells to be absolute. Once we set the cells to be absolute, we use the upper wait, Dennis, we are explaining. So I would not suggest that you press enter. Okay, so after locking the table array, you can be able now to proceed with the comma, and then I will select the index column. So you count which column is gender, which number column for gender is from your table array. So you start counting from the customer ID. Which number does gender represent as a column? So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So gender is number 5. Remember, full name was number 4. So gender is number 5. So you write 5. So what it will do, it will just match. It will match the customer ID to its respective gender for it to return the gender of that person. The same way it did match for the full name. So we also have another function in Excel which we call index and match. So you can use also that for you to be able to get the same results. So we are using VLOOKUP in this case. So once you have provided the index column, you can now proceed to provide either a false, which is for the exact match, or true to be an approximate match. However, false is 0 and true is 1. So you can decide to use 1, you can decide to use either 0 or to use either a false. Yeah, so 0 represents false, which means exact match. And then you can now close your VLOOKUP function, and now you can return that by pressing enter for you to return the gender of that particular customer ID if you want it. So you can do the same for email, and you can be able to get. However, when you change customer ID, everything will change. When you change customer ID to something else, the name and the corresponding gender will change instantly in real time. So that's how it works. And if something is not there in existence, we should be able to return an error. It will return null. However, we can customize our function to be able to return. We can customize our function to be able to return not found instead of null. So how do we do that? So maybe to just ask again, Faith, now Chero teach, are we together now? We're using the VLOOKUP before we adjust. Dennis, just remain there. Just remain there, Dennis. So Cherotich, are we together? Maybe you can tell us if you are fine now. Not yet. So maybe you can unmute and ask where you need to understand before we proceed, please.
Okay, what I don't understand is from what do you call this second class actually, what has been going on with the VLOOKUP? Where did you get the data? And like last time there was a step by step
Okay.
generating data up to filling in everything like that.
Yes, Cherotich, you are right. You are right. Yeah, I thought Dennis, you shared the data with the student, the data you have. So just remain there, Dennis. I will post the data to the chat section. So just remain at your Excel. Don't worry, so that they can have the data. I think that's something that they should have even before you started using it. So let me just share it in the chat section so that we can be together. You can also do it at your end. And I think that's something that you could have raised even before reaching this far. But in the meantime, I think everything is fine. So we'll just be able to check that. So let me just check for the data here so that we can be able to download the data and use it as well as we train. So the data was provided as the assignment that was submitted by one of our alumni. That was Grace Ndanu, was our alumni whom we gave an assignment for week 1, of which you remember we said we forgot to send you the assignment. So you could have used your own data. So this data was prepared by one of our alumni, who is Grace Dan. So here is the data in the chat section. You can click on the link to download the data instantly so that you can have the same data at your end. And then from there now, Dennis can proceed with we can now do the recap of the VLOOKUP by Cherotich, Faith, you sharing your screen so that we can explain while you are doing it. I think that one will be okay now. Yeah, so the data is in the chat section. The data is in the chat section. So Dennis, maybe Faith, once you have the data, please let us know so that Dennis can stop sharing and you can now share your screen.
Yes, I have the data.
Okay, yeah, so you can share your screen, please. You can share your screen. So Dennis, you will pick up from the conditional formatting. So let me just do the VLOOKUP again with Faith here so that all of us we can be able to understand. Okay. Yeah, so that is the data that we have. So you can be able to even put your cursor to cell K14 to see the function that was used, K14 to see the cell that was used, K14. So in this case, the approach that our colleague used here, Grace, you can be able to see how she did that. But now we are not going to repeat that again. You can do that later because you already have the functions now. But we will now do the VLOOKUP. So we will do the VLOOKUP. So you have to go to your column names and copy from customer ID, copy from customer ID to maybe email address. Yeah, copy that. So paste somewhere, paste anywhere, down, anywhere down. However, you can even paste in a new cell, but now it is advanced. It will be referencing to the other cell and it will be looking more complicated. So we just want to keep it simple. So I want you to also add another column at the end, which is amount, maybe the quantity, right there, quantity. Maybe we can know how many. Oh, okay, no, not the quantity, just use the amount. Just use the amount. Yeah. Sometimes you may want to know the exact items that we're bought, but in this case, we're just using the, yeah. So once we are there, okay, once we are there, you should go to your, okay, we have first name or have full name. So I'd like you to delete first name and last name because you already have full name. So just delete the two cells. Select the two, right click to delete, right click to delete, click delete. And then there, wait. Delete and shift cells left. That is okay. Where it has selected that, and then click OK. Okay, nice. Okay, good. Now you can go to full name. Under full name, type equal to VLOOKUP. Equal to VLOOKUP. Just type, yeah, VLOOKUP. Open your parentheses. Yes, just go to your cell so that we can use, I think, your cell, but however, you can also use the formula bar, no problem. Yeah, so once we are there, now you select the lookup value. The lookup value is the customer ID. So where you'll be typing your customer ID is what is known as the lookup value. So you click on a cell below customer ID.
Yeah.
Yes, you select that cell, and then you separate with a comma, use comma. No, just select that cell and no, just one cell. Delete that. Just that cell, comma, yes. And then now we go to the table array. The table array is the table range of your data. So you'll have to scroll to the top to select the array for the data range. So from the customer ID, you have to select everything up to the amount. No, from customer ID, not date.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, there. No, customer ID. Include the column names, please. Okay. Select that. Now drag to the right. You're supposed to select everything from customer ID to amount. The whole range for the data, except the first column. Yes, select everything up to the amount. Yeah, like that. Okay. So once you have the table array, you put a comma. Just type comma. Just type comma. It's already active. So we have just selected the range. After selecting the range now, you proceed by providing the column index. The column index for this case is full name. So you go to the full name, go to the general data, go to the general data, the original data, the table array, and look at which number is the full name in that range, which column number is the full name. So you have to count from customer ID, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now you see full name is in column number 4. So you type 4. You type 4.
I don't select.
You don't select, you type 4. It's column number, column index number.
Okay,
4.
like that.
Yeah, then comma. Then from there now, we are using exact match. So exact match is either you click on false or use 0, which shows the exact match. So either click on false or use 0.
Pardon?
You either use 0 for false,
Yes.
or you click false there. Either you click false there under exact match, or you use a 0. Double click on it. Then you close. Then you close your function. So there you can either use false or use 0. 0 is the same as false, and true is 1.
Yeah.
So once you have selected your data like that, you can now press enter. Once you have that, you can press enter. Now you see it's telling you null.
Yes.
So that because our customer ID is blank, when you provide anything that is in the range, you will be able to obtain the full name of the customer. So you can provide,
You mean when I select maybe
when you input a value under customer ID, the cell below customer ID, input a value that corresponds to any customer ID that you have at the top. So it will be able to return the full name.
Okay.
So you can just counter check to check if it is what you expect.
Yeah, it's the same name.
So that's how that happens. So you can do the same for gender, you can do the same for email, and you can do the same for amount. So for us to do that,
Then, okay, when I want maybe to also enter the details to look up the details for gender, I'll do the same thing I did under full name.
yes, you do the same thing you did under full name. However, to save time, we usually recommend you set the cells for your function. You write one function, for example, under full name. Then you set the table array to be absolute reference. So you double click in the full name. Double click, no, down there, Benjamin. Then now you put $sign before, just under table array. Under table array. Do you remember the table array? Yes. That one, B1. So set everything. Before B, put a $sign. After B, put a $sign. And then before L, put a $sign. That one, we are now locking the range for the table. Before B, we said before B, after B.
After B1. No, before 1.
Before 1, yes. And then we also do the same before 11. Okay. Now you can press your enter. So we have just locked the range so that now when we drag, so we want you to go back to Benjamin. And now rest your cursor, go to Benjamin. Down there where we are fetching data, not at the original data. Just go down there to Benjamin. So rest your cursor at the bottom right corner. Then you drag to the right. Drag to the right. Drag to the right up to amount. Now go to gender. Go to gender, cell below gender, that cell. Double click. So you see the function there. Is the customer ID is not the cell that we want. So you have to change from C. We are also supposed to lock the customer ID. So change C to B. because the customer ID is in cell B. Yes. And then we want to change the number for gender. Gender is not number 4, it's number 5. So you just change 4 to 5 and then you hit enter. Press enter. So just that, we have obtained the gender of the person. We can go to email. Email, I think, is number 6. So change from D to B. We forgot to lock that. You should also lock that. And then go to number 4. Change 4 to 6. Remember, gender was 5. 4
Yes.
to 6, press enter.
Okay,
Then
what
we
did
can
you
now
mean
see.
by we forgot to lock?
I said we forgot the lock for customer ID in the beginning. We are not supposed to be changing D to B, C to B. Yeah, we're supposed to lock, but there's no problem. We are just okay. However, you see how we are having, you see now is E. So if you don't lock, it will be adjusting like that. You see now it is E, so it's supposed to
Yes.
be P. So that's why we are locking. That's why we locked the table, so that the table does not also change like that.
Okay.
And then just check the amount, which column is number, the column number for amount. Just check the column number for amount. You are supposed to count to know which number is it from your table. So scroll up for you to
11.
be able to see. It's number 11 here. So you can now put 11 instead of 4. And now you can get the amount. So that's how we use VLOOKUP. And now, once you have set that, you can just change customer ID to anything that is in the range, and you can be able to get the results back.
Okay, I have a question. Why did we set the match to be false and not true?
Yeah, exact match. Remember, it is using the concept of matching. It is looking for the customer ID, which is a unique identifier, and then it matches to exact the name, exact name of the person. And then it also matches to exact gender, and then it also matches to exact email of that customer ID, and again exact amount of that customer ID. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So suppose you put something that is not in the range. Suppose you put something there that is not within the
Like
data table range. You
110.
see it is NA. So we
Yeah.
need for it to tell us not found and not not
Not
like that.
10.
So we advance our formula further. We advance our formula further by adding an if error alert formula. So I want you
We
to
go
double click
to
under
that.
full name. Hello,
Yes.
are we together?
Yes, we're together.
Yeah, because I was hearing you are talking. So you go to before VLOOKUP. Go to before VLOOKUP. Type there if error is a function in Excel. If error is a function in Excel. You open the parentheses, you open the brackets for that, and then go at the end of that VLOOKUP function outside. You put a comma, and then into the quotes type not found. Into the quotes type not found. Into the quotes type not found. Into the quotes. It is a text. Into the quotes type not found. Into the quotes type not found. And then you close your parenthesis, you close your bracket, you close the parenthesis. So you have just added a formula known as if error to VLOOKUP, so that when we encounter any kind of error like the null, we just tell a feedback that not found and not NA. So that one can happen to full name, but now you'll have also to do the same for gender, for email, for amount. So that's how it works. So you can just do the same later for the other remaining. Is that okay now?
Yes, understood.
Okay, thank you and welcome. So hope we are together, our colleagues who are in the call. Hope we've understood now how VLOOKUP work. Before Dennis proceeds to conditional formatting. So as part of your tech homework, go and find out on how to use XLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, and index and match functions in Excel. So that is your takeaway that you should be able to consider. And then Dennis now can proceed. If we are together, Dennis can now proceed to conditional formatting. If we are together, please, let's have some reaction to confirm if we are all at the same point. Oh, anyone who has joined us now, please find the data we are using in the chat section. So you click on the link to get the data. So you can proceed, Dennis, with the conditional formatting. And I suggest that if you can use the same data to show conditional formatting, or if you have the dashboard data, whichever data you'll use, there's no problem. We will still share the link for that data. Thank you, Dennis. You can proceed now.
Thank you, Mr. Madanga, for that. I hope now everyone is able to progress with VLOOKUP. I'll share my screen. What we are heading on to is conditional formatting. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, Dennis, it's coming up.
So for conditional formatting, what it does in Excel, it is a feature used to apply visual formatting to cells based on specific criteria. That is, it helps us to identify the trend patterns, and it enhances in visualization and easier understanding of the data at a glance. By just viewing or glancing at the data, you'll be able to understand the trend. So let me copy this data here around at least I want to use this data here because there are different types of conditional formatting. So we can just we're going to use those 5 types. So for our first data, these are the quantity. As I have said, conditional formatting helps us to identify patterns and trends, thus making us to understand data easily just by glancing at it. So for conditional formatting, we highlight the data that we want to format. Then we select home, conditional formatting. As you can see, there are many types on how you can do conditional formatting. There is the first one, highlighting cell nodes, where we are going to check if something is greater than the number that we are giving. Is it lesser, or is the value in between the value that we are going to give? Let's start with greater than. So as you click there, you're going to see that you will format the cells according to the amount or the value that you want to set. So we can set the value to be 100,000. 100,000. Yes. So we want to get the data that is greater than 100,000. Then we can set it to be either light red, yellow, green fill the color that you feel you can select. You can also use the customized format whereby you're going to select fill here and select the color that you want to use. Maybe like for that blue, then you enter. So it is going to give you the amount that is greater than 100,000 shillings. That is for greater than. We have other like less than. It goes the same way. Between, you're going to set a range in between maybe the lowest amount, that is 3,200 to around 100,000. Let's use that one here. Select the data that we want to format. We get it. We are going to get the value that is between a certain amount. So we are going to set our amount between 3,200 and the other amount at 100,000. Then we select the color we want. Gives us that one. So that is how you can use it by highlighting cell rules. We can also use it to get the top or the bottom rules. This is where we are going to get the top 10 items, top 10%, bottom 10, bottom 10%, or even the amount that is above average. So let us start by getting the top 10. We highlight our data, then conditional formatting, top bottom rules, top 10 items. Since data has 11 items, we can reduce the number to around 3 for us to get the total, the top 3 items. Then we set our color, the red border. It is just going to highlight the borders, but for visibility, we can use the green fit. It is going to give us the top 3 amount from our data. Hope till that point we are together. Yeah, okay. Yes, thank you. Let's proceed to the last 2 bits. We highlight. We can condition format. Then we set it to database. For database, it is going to display horizontal bars within cells or the proportional cell value according to the proportional cell values. So we can select any color, the gradient field. As you can see, as we are hovering around the database, it is changing. Let's use that one, giving us 240,000 is the biggest bar, and 3,200 is the smallest. It is as easy as that. For the last part, we can use condition formatting for color scales, whereby the color scales, it applies the gradient of a color based on the values. So for instance, it will give, let's use this one, it will give us dark green for the highest value, that is 240,000, and then it will give us red for 3,200, which is the smallest amount. Yeah, that is conditional formatting. So what is the benefit of using conditional formatting? One can be able to quickly identify insights and patterns from our data. You can be able to identify that these are the top amount that is collected. You can be able to identify how this data is displayed by just checking the visualization. Secondly, it enhances efficiency by saving time since there is automation. How can we be able to identify automation? For instance, we select the whole column, then we put it under conditional formatting. We're going to use data bars, and you're going to select this one. As we add another data, let's say for instance 445,000, it continues adjusting. So it will enhance automation. As we add more data, it is going to adjust itself like that, and it goes on and on. That is conditional formatting. Hope everyone has understood to that point.
Yes, yes. Dennis, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So maybe we can check on Cherotich, Faith, what you've been able to do so far about conditional formatting. So we will allow you to share your screen so that maybe Dennis can guide you if you where you are stuck or something like that.
Okay, I haven't done like the conditional formatting exactly on my sheet, but I've understood what he explained on greater.
Yes, yes.
Okay, a minute. I've understood what he explained on how to use greater than, less than, between. Yeah, and I think that data
Yes, yes.
bars, I'm not very sure, and color scales also a bit lost.
Yeah, so we have our YouTube channel that has the playlist for conditional formatting. So you can actually learn all the aspects of conditional formatting just via our YouTube channel. All the icon scale and the other sets of conditional formatting, you can be able to learn more about that on our YouTube channel. However, we would like you to show us maybe what Dennis has done. So maybe you can share your screen and show us what you've been able to do. Jackson, sorry about that. We did not attach the assignment to the email. However, we will attach it while we will be sending the assignment for week 2 so that you can be able to catch up. Sorry about that. So everyone experienced that. It's not just you. Thank you, Jackson, for understanding.
Okay, thank you.
This data, we are now on conditional formatting. So hope you got the data that we are using now.
Yes,
Just
sir.
here. Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you. Thank you. So you can proceed, Faith, by showing us what you've seen Den is doing. Yeah. And maybe you can talk. Thank you.
Okay, so he explained that under amount, conditional formatting, when you, I don't understand exactly maybe at what point, or maybe when you want to select the customers with a certain amount range, probably that is the reason for using conditional formatting. Yeah, but so for instance, when you want to select the customers with an amount greater than, for instance, maybe greater than 50,000, I don't know, did I, that 2,000? Yeah, this is where you insert the range of the amount you want, then to have the color coded. to be able to select those the specific customers, you pick the color that you want. So maybe green, and I click OK. And from there, we can be able to identify the customers whose amount is higher than 30,000. And for customers, yeah. Then in this other one, it's the same, just under different columns. So for this one also, if we want to look at customers with an amount between, so for instance, between maybe 20,000 to 100,000, then select, so maybe light red, yeah. And we are able to identify customers whose amount is between 20,000 to 100,000. Yeah. I didn't understand what he said, and did he do the bottom rules? Top bottom rules?
Yeah, Dennis, can you show that? Maybe maybe something like top five amount.
So okay. Under percentage.
You go to top 10 items, you just change the value from 10 to the value that you want. You can change there to 5 so that they can be highlighted.
So maybe top 5.
Yeah, we can say like 5 cents. Yeah, or top 3. And then you can give another color.
I picked the wrong thing.
You do not select the, you have to select the column that you want. Okay.
So the top 3.
Yeah, so that's how that works. So you can be able to select maybe the bottom 3 or the top 3 and so on, like that.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. So then under the database, that one I didn't also get.
Under database is that the values are being, the cells are being given bars based on the cell values. So for example, the quantity, you can use the quantity column you can select a quantity column in any other, yeah.
Okay.
Then you can now do that data bar thing.
Any that I want.
Under data bar, you can select any format under data bar. Yeah, you can see the range is being, the size of the bar is based on the cell value. So that's how the data bar happens. But when you change values in the data bar, it will, of course, the bars will also change at the same time. When you change values,
something I don't understand.
Yes.
You say data bars is dependent on what?
On the value cell, the cell value. That's why you see 8 has
the quantities.
The longest is 9, and then 8, yeah, like that. So that's how the data bar work. So you can explore more other conditional formatting. We will share the link for our YouTube channel for you to explore the other types of conditional formatting. So conditional formatting comes in handy when we want to maybe check the top 3, top 10, the bottom, and maybe we want to highlight particular cell values. So there's a lot that we can actually do with conditional formatting. Yeah, so maybe Jackson, if you have your laptop with you, could you just share your screen so that you can also show us about conditional formatting, what you've able to learn to our session today? Yes, Jackson, I think your audio is not clear.
Okay, I'm saying unfortunately today, right now I'm at work.
Okay. 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 Yeah. So maybe you can just type that in the chat section so that we can be able to know that. Yeah. So Dennis has just shared the playlist for conditional formatting in the chat section, our YouTube playlist, so you can get this and you can watch and learn more about how you can do a lot with conditional formatting through the playlist there. And then Theophile, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. So yeah, sorry about that. So maybe if you are in the position of unmuting and maybe you have your laptop, maybe you can just say hi to us. And if you have a laptop, we would like you to get the data we are using. Our brother has just left, when you call someone and this. Anyway, thank you so much. So I think it is now clear that we can be able to do a lot with the conditional formatting, which is nice to see that. So our today's session is going to end a bit early because of this, unless there is a question on the previous. I think Jackson just joined before we had a recap of what was covered. I don't know if Teach Faith, you can be able to use this time to repeat on what Dennis was doing as part of the recap, things like to do with the VLOOKUP, especially VLOOKUP. I don't know, Jackson, if we are together, maybe you can use the chat section. You can just tell us if you understood the VLOOKUP. If not, Faith can be able to repeat. Okay, yeah, Faith is leaving. I think she's head up a little bit. So I don't know, Jackson, if you understood the VLOOKUP. I don't know, Jackson, if you understood the VLOOKUP.
When you're finishing the VLOOKUP, but for the conditional, I forgot to.
Okay, Jackson, thank you. So yeah, just to wrap up, because our today's session is at its end, but we have the playlist there, so you can of course learn more about conditional formatting. So to add on that,